Welcome back to the North American Star League Season 4 Finals. I am Andre I was about to say Dan Frodan Cho, no joke, but I am actually Andre Greator Pengchua.
And I'm Nick Tasteless Plot. It's a pleasure to be here.
Definitely so, and we are here to cast the third game between Sortof and viOLet. It's going to be on Ohana. Let's go ahead and jump into the game right now.
You know, I do think that Ohana is yet another map where a lot of Mutalisk Zergling play is excellent. We've seen viOLet perform brilliantly with it before. Into game number 3, the series now means rather than be a best of 7, it's now basically a best of 5 starting fresh. Down in the bottom right corner, the Zerg player who's been blowing everyone's mind, the man with the barcode from Western Wolves, it is Sortof.
And in the top left-hand corner, the standard playing player. A little bit of a difference. We do have the blue Zerg. It is a Zubu viOLet. Can someone take that kettle off the stove? That would be appreciated.
You know, I will say that last game I feel like is a great demonstration of the difference between the mindsets of Sortof versus the mindset of viOLet. With Sortof, you got a player who you can clearly see has a clearly planned out, meticulously executed build order and is just trying to get through the steps, minimizing damage. viOLet, on the other hand, you see him saying, well, what's standard, what is good right now?
Yeah.
And even though it looks standard, you still saw those little edges viOLet took for himself. Oh, wow, I really seem to be distracting my opponent. I'm going to take a really early fourth. I'm even going to throw in the macro hatch there. Oh, well, since I opened it with this +1 carapace, then I guess I can sit and easily gain the upgrade lead.
Yeah.
As long as I keep checking what his Evo chamber count is.
And you know what happens after this? Let's say Sortof loses this game. I'm always going to go back to this one game when I was a Brood War noob. When Tyler cast the series PV, and Zerg did the same thing over and over and over again. Just went mutas. And the Protoss absolutely annihilated him. And a lot of people were like, why is this player going the same thing over and over again? And it's because that's all he trained. That's the #1 thing that he wanted to do. And I really have to question, is Sortof going to change, or is he going to just fall back on what he practiced and what he trained for?
You know, I think it is almost always better to fall back on something that you know that you've trained than it is to hear something new or think something an hour before your match and go, let me give that a shot. There have been more losses like that than you know, let's be bold. There have been more losses like that than any other in the history of sports.
Yes.
I mean, it's really kind of funny to go talk to a lot of people who, you know, get the opportunity to compete in open tournaments, whether online or at a live tournament, and they always say, I was up against that really good guy, and I cheesed him, and I never cheese, and he just held it off so easily. In these pressure situations, it's so easy to deviate, and I really have a lot of respect for Sortof, having sort of consistency. Again, it's easy to talk about doubt, but you know, he's always tied 1-1 and has managed to win an excellent game 1.
First blood goes to Sortof as he takes off the first Zergling. Going to get a good scout around. Really nothing of substance.
Wow.
So far. Why is he
Sortof just wants this Ling so dead.
I'm going to get you.
Already we see viOLet with his earlier speed, his earlier Baneling Nest, his earlier double Queen. Spinecrawler going in defensively. Sortof does have the lead in drones just due to that earlier first Queen.
Nothing just yet. Still no Baneling Nest. Oh, it's going to go down pretty soon.
Got him.
There it is. Okay. Good job, 2 Zerglings. You did a lot.
That's all it takes for the clap. 75 minerals down.
Yeah, nothing of substance just yet. Both these players still have a lot to choose from.
You know, this is a map where I actually do like openings that transition into Zergling Ultralisk. It's a narrow map, but in particular, it's very easy to defend the natural. Get up the early third hash that you'd need to go. See viOLet do that once or twice.
Yeah, there are some roach timings at the third base, but you have to have that premeditated. Like, you can't just go in and say, oh, I can react to this Zergling Infestor to start us off 2 base, going into the third base. I can react and just crush you. No, you kind of have to say, okay, I'm going to get my third base. he or she is going to get their third base, and then I'm not making any drones for that third. I'm just going straight up roaches and trying to kill my opponent. And that's a hard call to really make before you see the infestors coming out. So I feel like against a player like... Oh, wait, I'm thinking the other way around. But still, against a player like Sortof, I think that's a very, very applicable thing to do. If viOLet wants to go Ultras, I don't think he really has to worry about a big Roach all-in.
Yeah.
Because Sortof will just play Infestor, Hydra, Roach again.
Yet again, identical response out of Sortof.
Yes, sir.
Real question is, what are we going to see out of viOLet? I think this is an excellent map to go for the Spire play.
Yes.
There's really not that much risk. And I do want to talk, well, rats. I do want to talk about one of the coolest things that you can do is that when you see this infestation pit building, it'll generally finish up, as you can see on the little timer, at around 8:30.
Mm-hmm.
You rush in there at around 9 minutes, 9:15, with an Overseer that has Contaminate. And then you contaminate
this?
You're
so dirty.
What's at 80% on the pathogen glands, and then the infestors hatch without the energy upgrade. It's actually a brilliant move that I saw E.G. Suppy do at the Battle.net World Championships, and his opponent had 6 infestors pop out without the energy upgrade, and he killed all of them.
Did I ever play you on ladder? Because someone did that to me. If it was you,
it wasn't me. I've been playing Protoss lately.
Okay, definitely one of the most frustrating things to deal with, but ooh, little nice takeoff over here.
Wow.
Getting the queen.
Night there by viOLet. Now moving up. It looks like the third base is under fire yet again. It's this limited amount of roaches. The Banelink connections are marvelous. And there's just not enough roaches. There are not enough roaches. Sortof is going to have to cancel at 90%. The last thing in the world he wanted to do.
Oh, and he's going to start up
cancels
again, kills the drone, and gets out of there. Beautifully done by viOLet while he's getting his own third up.
And I think most importantly of all, look at the infestor count. Already starting to stockpile on up for viOLet. The only real edge we're seeing out of the Swedish Zerg player is that grade. viOLet, again, going to go for Zergling aggression. Supply count is a little deceptive. It doesn't really tell the whole story. Right now,
of course.
The Red Zerg player is actually in quite a bad spot.
Yeah, roaches are just a huge supply tank, so you have to be careful when really watching that, especially with the power of spine crawlers plus upgraded Zerglings plus infestors. You can definitely kill a lot more than your supply. And again, denying the third. No cancel.
Misses the cancel.
Oh, gosh, Sortof. And there might be... Nope. He could have swung around to the natural, but...
We'll try to send your roaches and win in a huge battle. But right now we see the roach count is going to be high. The infestor count is going to be high for viOLet. I mean, viOLet is in absolutely perfect position to just demolish here.
Yeah, look at that. I mean, he has roaches for himself. What happens with that is a single fungal, and then you will get the better concave. So it's hard to justify some sort of attack from Sortof. That's why he backs up, just takes his third, and will take the economic loss. So again, over here on Ohana, we will have Sortof playing from behind. And last time around, he just maxed it 200, and pushed. And obviously, that wasn't, I wouldn't say that was theoretically the best move to do. You want to be playing more, guerrilla tactics, guerrilla warfare type of deal. But we'll see what Sortof does this time around, as I feel like any 200 attack won't be as successful, especially with all of the stats that viOLet has taken throughout, the Hyun games and, of course, his games.
This is just going to be a tremendous position for viOLet. Right now, viOLet is getting an extremely early gas 5 and 6. Even though the supply counts are going to be the same, you have to go to the unit station to start to see how far ahead viOLet is going to pull in that gas unit count. He will have more, even ahead by 10 drones. He's going to have more roaches, more infestors, earlier infestor count max, earlier Hydra count max. I mean, even though this Hydra den is going down first, soon enough viOLet's going to be able to throw down that ever so critical macro hatch. He could even just take a 4th base right away. viOLet has the supply lead now by a big margin.
That's right, and it's really going to be up to him how he uses his advantage. I really feel like Sortof will be, just super defensive for quite a long time. What I really like to do is just throw down that 4th right now. It sounds crazy, right? Why would you throw down the 4th? Your opponent's just going to attack. It might not be defensible. But the fact of the matter is you force your opponent to move out. are they going to take their own fourth, or are they going to attack you? And look at this. Sortof is actually the one to take his fourth a little bit earlier.
It's another one of these seemingly risky moves, but like you say, it forces your opponent to attack.
Yeah.
Especially if you're expanding here, you have this possible concave, because as you'll note, it tapers just one. It's very easy to have.
Yes, sir.
Right now, in that unit station, we see that it is 9 on 9 infestors, but viOLet's 9 were earlier. Look at them, all having almost all max energy, but Sortof is not far away from catching up.
That's right. +2 missile attack just finishes now for Sortof, so he has the slight advantage in terms of upgrades. Will he use that? A slight attack over on the left-hand side will be intercepted quite easily. Just Zerglings against Zerglings, no big deal.
The Zerglings won. Force base up for both of them. And right now I'm marginally concerned about this 38 roach count for viOLet. That's going to get increasingly less good as the Hydra count gets higher and higher and higher for Sortof. And I feel like this is the one thing he seems to consistently bank on, is just saying, yeah, you're probably not going to attack me before we're maxed. And when we do max out, I'm going to have more Hydras. So,
it's just inactivity, banking on inactivity. Of course, you bank on your opponent not attacking also because of the terrain, how everything works out. Funneling into a tight little position, Ohana has these little chokes here and there. Just fungal and get the better concave. So he's using that to his advantage as well. Wow!
Oh!
He's trying to push out here.
This is an extremely bold attack coming in right now for Sortof. He softened up a lot of these roaches, but I'm not sure how much I like this. The concave edge clearly goes to him.
Oh, wow.
But viOLet has so many more roaches, and yet again, how does Sortof keep doing this?
Groove Spines. Groove Spines does not finish her viOLet, and it gave Sortof that tiny little advantage. His Hydras were able to DPS down a lot more, and viOLet's Hydras just could not get into the battle. Nicely done. Just a small pack going forward, trying to take out some of those infestors, but is Sortof going to be able to do stuff? I mean, this is where he spent all of his energy.
Oh no, Sortof. This is such a risky play from Sortof. There's more roaches coming in from viOLet's side because viOLet has that macro hatch, and this is the critical blunder.
Yes.
He needed to pull back, and already we see viOLet springing ahead in every regard. More Hydras, more roaches, more infestors with energy.
Very well done. You can see the economy advantage from viOLet really kicking in right now. Nothing of not really the worst trades going on, but maxed out a lot earlier than his opponent. So yeah, he loses the first battle, but he's able to get back into it. We will go down at the main base. You can see still no hive, and both these players just trading a little bit in the middle of the map, but Sortof has to back up. His infestors don't have a lot of energy, whereas viOLet still has quite a bit.
This is going to work out very, very poorly for Sortof. He doesn't nearly have the energy count. He needs to break through on this right side, but Sortof shouldn't engage this.
Beautiful.
He's still getting over-eager again. What a concave from Sortof, but is his unit count enough, Andre?
I'm not sure. Infested Terrans are being thrown down. I almost felt like viOLet shouldn't have taken that attack because of all the Infested Terrans that were splared down there. Now, look at all that energy. That's really not doing that much. I would love him to back up, go over to the fourth base, and really try to exert his pressure over there. Now, he did waste a little bit, just a tiny bit of energy. Still, viOLet, of course, since he's on his opponent's side of the map, I really give him the strong favor to go this game.
The Infested Terrans run out of steam, collapse on the ground, and now it's 170 supply to 200. I really think Sortof needs to just have a little bit more patience.
Yes.
He does not. He has fewer roaches, equal Hydras, and less energy on his infestors. Concave advantage yet again goes huge to Sortof, but viOLet springing in along the backside. viOLet's macro just too overwhelming, and back-to-back games in a row was outmatched.
+2 gone, and you know that small pack of units coming in from the top left-hand corner really blindsided a lot of those units. They were able to pick them off, pick off the DPS, pick off the Hydras, and that would do it. I mean, he was able to just grow the small advantage. Again and again. Infested Terrans being thrown down here. There it is.
GG. viOLet